The Russian government interfered in the 2016 presidential election in a sweeping and systematic fashion. The Mueller Report, page 1. This is a direct quote pulled from the infamous Mueller Report, which is the official report on the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. It is the official report documenting the findings and conclusions of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian efforts to interfere with the 2016 United States presidential election. Many people mistake this as a direct hack into our voting machines or some sort of physical ballot stuffing. The reality is much worse. That brings us to propaganda. There are two definitions for propaganda: the spreading of ideas, information, or rumors for the purpose of helping or injuring an institution, a cause, or a person. The second being ideas, facts, or allegations spread deliberately to further one's cause to damage an opposing cause. In order to fully grasp the situation, let's single out a specific piece of propaganda. It is widely known that throughout America that Islamophobia has reached an all-time high. It's a pretty fine line to stand on either end of, which is why it's so easy to pit people against each other. On May 21, 2016, two Facebook events were planned at the exact same place, exact same time. One was called Stop Islamization of Texas, the other called Save Islamic Knowledge. They both set the exact same time and place for their protests. On the date of the event, you can see protesters take to either sides of the street to literally face off against the opposing group. In this case highlighted earlier by Senator Richard Burr, the accounts appeared to organize both sides of the protests in front of the Islamic Center in downtown Houston.
So there's nothing that, at least preliminarily, we see that would lean towards one candidate versus the other. I think there was equal money spent trying to create some type of chaos on both sides of the political or the ideological spectrum.
House lawmakers released several Facebook and Instagram ads linked to the Kremlin meddling online. These ads were included in that release. Through Facebook's targeted ads, Russians managed to pit Texans against each other for the bargain price of $200. We can quite literally see in this physical example, the goal was division. Look even further into it, it's impossible to rule out the idea that they weren't trying to sow division. With Facebook accounts like Defend the Second riling up gun activists in the wake of Black Lives Matter and multiple police shootings where gun laws are held in constant debate, whether it be Blacktivist, the Black Panther Resurgence page advocating for black rights by blaming government suppression in a time where white nationalists are speaking out at an unprecedented rate. Or if it's Secured Borders account, which gets people to stand up to invaders and protect the border privately, insinuating that Americans take border security into their own hands. If you thought pitting two protest groups against each other was a wild idea, you'd be directly disagreeing with Russia, considering they did the exact same thing after the election again. The Russians were accused of promoting discord after the election by simultaneously holding New York rallies, one in support of Trump's victory and the other under the name "Trump is not my president," according to indictment released on Friday, February 2018 by the Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Time and time again, it is shown that the most controversial American debates are under attack in a way that's meant to make us hate each other. This is the goal of propaganda. Now that we know exactly what propaganda was used and why it was used, we need to look at how it was used. It's clear to see that the presidential election was a fiery success in the eyes of Russia. As far as we know, Russia didn't do this just to get Trump elected. Research into the ads themselves will show this. Each ad was curated to attack someone's fears directly. That is where social media and internet campaigns come into play. I remember spending some time with someone I'm close with discussing, at that point, the upcoming 2016 election. They had their phone in hand scrolling through Facebook to bring up talking points about the candidates. She proceeds to tell me the war crimes Hillary Clinton committed. She tells me that Hillary is in support of open borders and wants to support illegal immigrants to win the popular vote. She spouts loads and loads of completely incorrect rhetoric around Hillary. Needless to say, she hated Hillary, long before these ads even surfaced. It did not matter what I said in response, these were things that were settled in her mind days ago. The beauty of the modern day internet is that almost everything you do is stored somewhere. This has been made most apparent over the past year as time and time again personal data gets lost or sold at the expense of the consumer.
They had apps on Facebook that were given special permission to harvest data not from just the person who used the app or joined the app, but also it would then go into their entire friend network and pull out all of the friends' data as well. Things like status updates, likes, in some cases private messages.
People had no idea that their data was being taken in this way.
No.
When you interact with an ad, your computer will remember that. If you look up vacuums on Google, you are bound to see vacuum ads in the coming hours. This is a common practice that has been in use for over a decade. The issue with this system, since it is not secured and is barely privatized, is that it can be used against you. Take my friend, for example. She had always had issues with border security. Her husband was in the military, and she hated Democrats. All of this was recorded some way or another on one site or thousands. This was based off of search history or social media post engagement. When the propaganda machine kicked into full gear, Russia accessed as much of this information as possible. They had teams of people creating ads and groups that focused solely on things that a majority of people feared, like my friend. Then those ads and groups were advertised to their targets through selective marketing. Did you like a post that said Hillary's emails are a sure sign of the deep state working to steal the election? Well, here's an ad to support that idea. Did you share a picture that says Trump is going to ban Muslims for the country to empower racists? Here's an ad that literally says that. Did you think that your assessment of whatever political candidate was absolutely correct? Well, you'd be right. According to these ads, you are right. It doesn't matter what crazy point you believe, there's an ad to support it. Those ads were blasted to every reach of the internet in connection to multiple groups that were already sowing division. The goal was to use us to disagree so harshly and be firm in our own non-factual beliefs that we turn on the other side and completely disregard fact, turning everything into a violent screaming match. Hell, you still can't go on Facebook without seeing someone going off about Hillary's emails, despite the completed investigation bringing no charges. So what exactly did propaganda accomplish in the 2016 election? It didn't get Trump elected, considering he lost the popular vote by almost 3 million votes. It didn't get Hillary thrown in jail, considering all investigations have ended. It actually didn't accomplish much, or even reach an endpoint. The sole idea was to get us to lose faith in each other, to instill the ideology that I am right and you are wrong. So what can really be done about this? Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be much hope in ways of rules and regulations. Imposing laws to keep people from spreading misinformation cuts deeply into the First Amendment. It is absolutely everyone's right to post whatever they want, whenever they want, though certain things harbor consequences. But that's the kicker. The American people have to hold themselves above this. We have to show that we are smarter than this. When you find a news article whose headline instantly grabs your emotion, that was on purpose. The goal of internet articles nowadays is to get clicks. The title has to be juicy enough to pull in a reader, yet provide vague enough info that you feel compelled to learn more. When you feel threatened, offended, or even relieved by an article, read it. If you can hear yourself bringing up the title of an article in an argument, for the love of God, read all of it. And even then, try to find another news source covering the same event so that you can corroborate stories. There are many powerful, truthful news sites out there despite the president's rhetoric. The media is not the enemy of the people. Disinformation is. Fake news is. Propaganda is. We as a nation have to pull ourselves back together in a time where facts are opinions and opinions are facts. Moving forward, all you can do is be informed. As our next election gears up, we are already seeing a large amount of disinformation being spread and counted as fact. Just this week, a video of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was edited and slowed down to make her appear intoxicated while delivering a speech.
We want to give this president the opportunity to do something historic for our country. We want to give this president the opportunity to do something historic for our country.
Not only is this a flagrant attempt to disparage people's respect in a political figure, it is an attack that solidifies in many people that Speaker Pelosi cannot do her job or is completely unfit to serve. This video was shared by the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. Misinformation comes from all angles. Ladies and gentlemen, the time of propaganda is on us again. Use your heads as the upcoming election gets closer. And please do not take my word for it. Source my facts, form your own opinions. Do your research and never let a single article sway your own thought process. Just inform you of newsworthy events. The American people were used as a political weapon to weaken the state of our own democracy. We cannot let this happen again.